The note. He asked his friend to deliver. If he didn't return. The envelope was sealed with tape that had yellowed over 73 years, and when I finally opened it, my hands wouldn't stop shaking. Inside was a single sheet of paper, folded 3 times, with a photograph tucked beside it. The photo showed 2 soldiers, arms slung over each other's shoulders, grinning like they had their whole lives ahead of them. On the back, in faded pencil, "Promise me, Danny. If I don't make it, you deliver this. Don't read it. Just deliver it." My grandfather Danny kept that promise for 7 decades, but he never delivered the letter. What I found inside explained why he carried that guilt to his grave, and why the woman in the photograph spent her entire life waiting for a man who died on June 6, 1944. But let me start from the beginning, because this story isn't just about a letter. It's about the promise that destroyed 2 lives to honor one. My grandfather, Danny Reeves, died 3 months ago at 98 years old. He was a D-Day veteran, Purple Heart recipient, the kind of man who never talked about the war except to say he was one of the lucky ones. But in his final week, delirious with pneumonia, he kept repeating the same thing. "I never delivered it. God forgive me, I never delivered it." We had no idea what he meant. After the funeral, while cleaning out his attic, I found a metal ammunition box hidden behind the insulation. Inside were his dog tags, a bronze star he never told us about, and that envelope, addressed in careful handwriting to Miss Catherine Walsh, 147 Maple Street, Boston, Massachusetts. The letter was from Private James Crowley, my grandfather's best friend. They'd grown up 3 houses apart in South Boston, joined the Army together in 1943, and shipped out to England in the same unit. Jimmy was engaged to Catherine Walsh, the neighborhood beauty with auburn hair and a laugh that, according to my grandmother, could make the worst day feel like Christmas morning. They were supposed to marry when Jimmy came home. Catherine had already bought her wedding dress. On June 5, 1944, the night before the Normandy invasion, Jimmy wrote the letter. My grandfather watched him do it, sitting in the belly of a transport ship that rocked with the channel waves. He spent 3 hours on it, Danny had scrawled in a journal I found beneath the letter. Kept starting over, must have torn up 10 sheets before he got it right. When he finished, he sealed it, looked at me, and said, "Danny, if something happens to me tomorrow, you make sure Kathy gets this. But don't you dare read it first. This is between me and her." I promised. We shook on it. 22 hours later, my grandfather was dragging Jimmy's body out of the surf at Omaha Beach. A German machine gun nest had caught their landing craft the moment the ramp dropped. Jimmy took 3 rounds to the chest before they even reached the sand. He died in Danny's arms, not with last words or dramatic final moments, but choking on seawater and blood, trying to say something that never came out. My grandfather came home in 1945 with the letter still in his pack. He went to see Catherine Walsh 3 days after he returned. She was still wearing the silver engagement ring Jimmy had given her, still sleeping in Jimmy's old football jersey, still waiting even though the telegram had arrived months earlier. But that's not even the most heartbreaking part. When Danny opened the ammunition box to retrieve the letter, he saw that the envelope had been damaged. Blood had seeped through the seal. Jimmy's blood. The letter inside was partially illegible, the ink running where seawater and blood had mixed during those terrible hours on the beach. My grandfather made a choice that would haunt him for 73 years. He decided to read it first, to see if it was even deliverable. What he found inside made him seal the letter back up and hide it away forever. The letter wasn't a goodbye. It was a confession. Jimmy had written to Catherine to tell her he couldn't marry her. He was in love with someone else, a French girl named Elise Moreau he'd met during training exercises near Southampton. They'd spent 3 months together before D-Day, and Jimmy had gotten her pregnant. In the letter, Jimmy released Catherine from their engagement, told her she deserved someone who could love her completely, and asked her forgiveness for not having the courage to tell her this to her face. He wrote, "I'm a coward, Kathy. I'm going into battle tomorrow, and maybe that's God's punishment for what I've done to you. If I die, you'll be free. If I live, I'll come back and face you like a man. Either way, you deserve the truth. I loved you like a brother loves a sister, but Elise, she's the one I was meant to find. Our baby will be born in December. If I don't make it, Danny will help you find her. I've left all the information with him." There was more. Details about Elise, an address in Southampton, instructions for how to find her. And at the bottom, in handwriting that grew increasingly frantic, "I'm sorry. I'm so damn sorry. You're going to hate me. You should hate me. But please, if something happens, make sure my child knows I wanted to be there. Tell Elise I loved her. Tell our baby I would have been a good father." My grandfather made a choice. He watched Catherine Walsh grieve for a hero, a faithful fiancé, a man who loved her until his last breath. And Danny decided that some truths cause more damage than they heal. He never delivered the letter. He never told Catherine about Elise or the baby. He let her keep her grief pure, untainted by betrayal. She never married, never moved on, stayed loyal to Jimmy's memory for 63 years until she died in 2007. My grandfather attended her funeral. In his journal he wrote, "I watched them bury her today, still wearing Jimmy's ring. I damned his soul, and I damned my own." But here's what I discovered that changes everything. I tracked down Elise Moreau's family. She had indeed been pregnant in 1944. She gave birth to a daughter on December 18, 1944, in Southampton. She named her Marie. Elise never married either. She spent 70 years believing that Jimmy had abandoned her, that he'd gone back to America and his American girl and forgotten all about the French, nobody he'd gotten pregnant. She raised Marie alone, worked as a seamstress, and died in 2014 at 92 years old, bitter and heartbroken. Marie is still alive. She's 79 years old now, living in Lyon. I called her last week. When I told her I had proof that her father loved her mother, that he'd written about them in his final hours, that he'd died wanting to be part of their lives, she wept so hard she couldn't speak. She'd spent her entire life believing she was the daughter of a man who didn't care. The letter proves otherwise. 3 people destroyed by one man's decision. Catherine Walsh, who loved a ghost. Elise Moreau, who believed she'd been abandoned. And Danny Reeves, who carried the weight of that choice until it killed him. My grandfather thought he was being kind. Instead, he denied 2 women the truth, and denied Jimmy's daughter the father she thought had rejected her. I'm delivering the letter now, 73 years late, but I'm delivering it. Marie deserves to read her father's words. She deserves to know he wanted her, and maybe, in some way, this honors my grandfather too. He made the wrong choice, but he made it trying to protect people he loved. If stories like this move you, hit subscribe. We share these untold stories of sacrifice and heartbreak every week because these voices deserve to be heard. Ring that notification bell so you never miss these incredible true stories. And drop a comment if someone in your family served. Your story might be our next video. Trust me, the story we're covering next week will absolutely destroy you. It's about the soldier who saved his entire platoon but refused the Medal of Honor because of what he had to do to earn